Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be doing a demonstration of the angled plate loaded leg press. The intention here is to try and preferentially bias the quadriceps muscles as much as possible. So that's the knee extensors, the muscles on the top front of the thigh that are involved in knee extension. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the camera around in a moment and just show you a couple of aspects of the setup that I'm using. And then I'll actually get on the machine, do a few reps to demonstrate and just explain a couple of the key points. Okay, first thing I'd like to point out about the setup I'm using here for the angled plate loaded leg press is you'll notice that I've got the back support set to the very bottom position. That's quite deliberate because that helps me to limit the amount of hip flexion I'm getting and allows me to maximize the amount of loaded knee flexion that I'm getting during the eccentric phase of the exercise as the knees are coming down towards me. Now, in my case, because I've got quite short legs, short levers, I find that I can bottom out this machine quite easily and I don't get a very good tension at the bottom. So for me, what I find helpful is to place a couple of yoga pads or even a rolled up stretch mat here on the back support. So the butt sits here on the seat here and the lower back hip crease presses into these foam blocks here, and that just adds a little bit of extra stability to the lower back, but it also boosts me up closer to the foot plate such that I get a bigger eccentric range of motion through the exercise. You'll notice I've set the safety down to the very bottom position, and in terms of my foot position, the intention, because I'm trying to preferentially bias my quads, is I want to keep my feet as low on the platform here as possible with a fairly narrow stance, heels roughly hips width, toes and knees rotated out. So left toes and knee are around about an 11 o'clock position, right toes and knee are going to be about a 1 o'clock position. And that's going to help me to maximize the amount of loaded knee flexion into extension I'm getting, and therefore help me get a better quality stimulus to the quads. So what I'm going to do now is get on the machine and I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, so hopefully you can see this okay. So I've got my butt in the seat and I'm wedging my lower back hip crease into those foam yoga blocks that are behind me here, just to feel that stability in the lower back. I'm going to lay back, gripping the handles on the sides for support. This is going to help me stay glued to the seat so I don't feel like, as the weight's coming down towards me, I don't feel like I'm going to get shot out of the seat. I'm going to get my feet nice and low on the platform. Now, the key thing here is throughout the entire range of motion, you want to be able to press solidly through your heels. So you want to make sure that those heels stay glued to the foot plate throughout the entire range of motion. If you find that as you come down to the bottom during the eccentric phase, the heels start to peel away, what you can do is simply shift the feet up maybe an inch or two and see how that goes. And again, just make sure you can keep your feet solidly glued to that platform. So for me, I've got quite good ankle range of motion and quite good hip and knee flexion. So I've got my heels right to the bottom here. I've got a fairly narrow position of my heels, about a hip's width. My left toes and knee are pointed again at around about an 11 o'clock position, and my right toes and knee are pointed around a 1 o'clock position. So my hips and knees are externally rotated. That's going to create space as the platform comes down towards me for my trunk to sit between my legs, which enables me to get more of a bigger range of loaded knee flexion and get a better stimulus for my quads. From here, I'm going to take a breath in and I'm going to slowly allow my knees to come down towards me. I'm opening my knees up, and the intention is to try and pull my knees towards the outside of my shoulders, trying to keep the pressure on as much as I can. Little pause in that bottom position, and then I drive back up to a full lockout. So again, I'm decelerating using my thigh muscles. So I'm using my thigh muscles to decelerate the load as the platform comes down towards me. I'm pulling my knees towards the outside of my shoulders. I'm going to pause in that deep stretch position. and then press back out to full extension. Once I'm done with my repetitions, I'm simply going to rack the machine. Take 1 foot down at a time, just to make sure that the platform is fully racked, and then come up and get out of the seat. I would say keep the repetition range somewhere in the roughly 5 to 12 repetition range for this one. Aim for about 3 working sets and rest for, again, about 2 to 3 minutes between sets.